Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of light jazz in the afternoon. Katerina, are you able to turn on your video camera?
Hi.
Excellent.
Hello.
Super. Thank you very much. Well, I'd like to welcome you today. We're still waiting for a couple of people to join. But I thought I'd at least start with an intro on today's session. And this is actually our second webinar on Lean and Agile Service Design. The first one was run on September the 10th, and it was dedicated to the iGaming industry. We've tweaked the content a little bit, and today we're talking to a much wider audience. A little bit about Symphony Solutions. What do we do? Well, we enhance your capabilities really by providing immediate and lasting impacts that your customers love. We create new applications, we modernize legacy applications, and we build and operate platforms. In addition, we also cultivate your cloud capabilities. And of course, we have a large Lean Center of Excellence, Lean and Agile Center of Excellence, and as well as a design studio. Today, two of my colleagues will be presenting. We'll start out with an overview of service design, and then we'll move into how that works with Lean and Agile, and ultimately how it can drive acquisition and your engagement metrics. Symphony's got offices headquartered in Holland, actually, with dev centers in Macedonia. We have 2 dev centers in Poland and another large one in Lviv. We will also be running a competition, I guess you could call it a competition, to select the very best questions that will be coming at the end of our session. And there's a prize to be given away there. We've got about 30 minutes or so, and then 15 minutes for Q&A. So without further ado, let me hand over to Kate, who will introduce herself, and we'll kick off today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you for the introduction. I just need a couple of seconds for screen sharing. Okay. So just the technical question. You see my screen with slide, yes?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay. So, good afternoon, attendees. Just a small introduction about us. So together with Andrew, we are working in one team more than 2 years. And our company successfully delivered projects to many clients from all over the globe. Few words about me. I'm head of design at Symphony. I'm co-founder of Service Design Network Ukrainian chapter, and I'm Service Design accredited trainer. And my main, let's say, challenge is to be Service Design agent of change.
Hi guys, Andrew is here. I'm Agile Coach Scrum Master at Symphony Solutions for last 4 or 5 years. And together with Kate, we found a lot of in common in our approaches in our job. So we'll try to share our insights with you. But before we start, I would like to come to webinar rules. They're pretty simple, straightforward. Just we ask you to stay muted until ask question. Also, you will have possibility to put your question in the chat box. And at the end of the session, we will come back to Q&A. Also, if you would like to ask questions, and then you will be allowed to reveal yourself, show yourself, and ask questions in person. As Eduardo mentioned, and then we will have special reward for the best question. Other than that, enjoy the meeting, and we wish you good luck.
Yeah, great. And what we're gonna cover today is, so service design. The main method is service design helpful to find the right problem and to find the right solution. Then we will pass to lean phase, and we will talk about how to build the right things. And then we will pass to agile, and we will cover topic how actually to build the things right. Okay. So, and actually this method works not in a waterfall way, so it works more like this. So we have iterations. So we start service design in sprint, and we generate all insights and all our ideas and potential solutions. Then lean startup, and again we collect feedback. So it's we move in cycle by cycle, and then we pass to agile, and then again we can start service design sprint again to reveal once again what is going on now, on what stage our product, our service now. So it works in this way.
So actually it's a central slide of our presentation. Yeah. That's how we decided to combine our approaches, which are similar in their nature, but on the other hand, they're different and they adapt differently to this approach. But also we discovered that if we combine them all together, they generate very huge benefits, which cannot be achieved by one of the approaches. So in this webinar, we will not provide practical experience, but rather just a general overview of each of approaches first, and then of course they will be accompanied by benefits that they bring and case studies that we had in our company.
Perfect. Okay, let's move to service design. I'm not sure how many of you already heard about service design. So let's go through a few examples and these examples will help us to understand what actually service design is about. I will ask you 3 questions now, and please, if this question say something to you and you experience it with that, please put plus into the chat. So, first question. Have you ever heard this, let's say, challenge? Let's develop feature A that our competitors just launched. If you experience it with this, please put plus into the chat. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Next question. We have to remove feature B. Our users don't use it. If you experience it with that, please put plus. Thank you. And third question. Feature C is not going to be released. Our competitor has already deleted it. If you experience it with that, please put plus. Thank you. Actually, this is areas where service design works. So service design aims at designing services that are useful and desirable from the user perspective, and efficient, effective, and different from the provider perspective. And if we have service design sprint or phase in the beginning of the project, so we have a chance to not meet in the reality those questions because very often they bring a lot of unnecessary and too costly development, and in the end we are not satisfied with the result. And why service design is some kind of mainstream for now? Because we have a notion about delivery gap. What does it mean? I think more than 10 years ago, a Bain & Company, they conducted a study aiming to understand how service provider thinks about his service and how users or customers of the service think about the service. So what was the result? That 80% of the company strongly believe they delivered the best service they ever can deliver, but only 8% of the user really share this opinion. And this is how we get this delivery gap. And service design help company to remove this delivery gap and to find the balance between business vision and end users vision. And what service design gives to us, very important thing, customer-centered mindset. What does it mean? Service design translates customers' real needs instead of a hypothetical one. And just by meeting those requirements and making our product and our customers happy, we are creating a successful and sustainable business. And service design is client-oriented development process that involves the usage of a specific tools. And when the customer centricity is in the heart of our business or product or service, we invest in its natural market life cycle. So every time when we have new release, when we have new functionality, we collect the feedback, we collect the ideas from the users, and by this we are always see the current state, and we are able, if it's needed, we are able to make a quick steps if we need to fix something. Okay, and when to start service design? So ideally, before any development begins, because in this case we can collect right insights and right vision of the project. And the best way actually is to start service design when you have an idea of potential service or product. So, and on the service design phase, you will, this puzzle of new business will be filled. Next question, and actually how to start a service design. So in service design, we use very often we use double diamond framework, which has been developed by Design British Council. So what is this framework about? So first of all, we have to understand the real problem. Many companies think they already know the problem, but without checking, is this real problem, we often seek to create solutions that solve imaginary problems. And on the first stage of the research, we try to understand the customers' real pains, gains, needs, jobs, expectations. We research the market, the ecosystem, and we check all our previous hypotheses. Then, when we have all this collected, we define the main problem that our service will solve. And we as a team have to come up to the point, yes, this is exactly that problem that our product or service will solve. When we have the right problem, it's time to create a solution. And in the first stage of this phase, we have to generate as many ideas as we can. So we have to go out of the box and create even some crazy ideas, because in the future they might help us to create some real and working solution. And when we have these different menus, the thousands, millions of ideas, we can check these options with the users, so we can get some feedback, or inside the team we can also analyze them. And in the end of this second phase, we have to come up with the statement, this is solution A, which we will implement. And in this way, we minimize the risk to solve the right problem, but in the wrong way. And if we have a customer-centered approach and we understand the real problems of the customers and determine the exact problem we are going to solve, then we try different options of solutions and we come up with one which works best. In this case, we create solution that viable from the business perspective, desirable from the user perspective, technically feasible, and by this we are able to build sustainable business. Maybe you have this question, why service design in Agile? So service design is the process by which we discover the shape of that potential problem's solution. And Agile, it is the method we use to refine the solution once it has been found. And on service design phase, we are able to create an innovation, to change things, and then to move to implementation of those things in Lean Agile. In this case, we decrease risks of failure and increase chance to build successful product. And also service design gives us to get the metrics. So this is an example of prioritization metric. We can divide features. So we have two directions, value and effort. And for example, if we have low value and high effort of the features, we have to refuse from them, because in the end of service design sprint, we have product, we can transform all those users' requirements and solutions into the product backlog. And 1 hour invested into design saves 1 hour, 100 hours of development. How service design is beneficial? So even if you already have some product backlog. So service design can help you to improve this backlog, to check with the users how they, what do they think about those features or those products, and then we can improve the features. Also, it can be quite a quick test of your idea. And the last but not least benefit is improve customer retention and perform service audit, because the cost of engaging new customer is growing every year, and service design avoids losing customers due to poor service and helps to learn the most critical experience gap for the end users. They are the one actually who knows them better. And I would like to share some case with you. This case is about the design. To design a perfect website is not enough. And let's just imagine one case. So, for example, you are planning the vacation in 1 month. So you have to find the hotel, and you browse in the internet, and you're trying to book to find the right hotel. Then you found a good, very user-friendly and nice website. So you booked this hotel room. Then you have a flight to the destination. Then you came to the hotel after a few hours flight, and you see the big queue of people on the reception, and only one receptionist is working there. Then, for example, you finally go to your room and you want to sleep. You took a shower, and then you detect that the hair dryer doesn't work. You have to search the phone number, how to call to the reception, how to report this problem with the hair dryer. So you have this conversation with indicator of all those things, like a room number, a check-in time, and all other things. Okay, you managed it. Then you will have first day of your vacation, and you went for a walk. You have been walking all day, and then in the evening you haven't enough energy to go to restaurants, so you would like to order food to your room, and again you search for some telephone numbers, try to order this food, and receptionist informed you that you have to wait 2 hours because of some reasons. Just a quick question: will you still stay loyal to this hotel, or will you recommend this hotel to your friend? And this is actually the typical case of service design, and we call it a processual gap. So when we pay attention to first customer meeting, customer facing touch point, and we forget about the overall experience of the customer while all stay. And actually, next logical question is what will be if you will transfer this task to the typical UX UI team? For example, we have some problems, our website is good, but but the general rating on the booking is too low. So how can we solve it? And this is actually not possible to solve by classical UX UI, because we are not able to create an interface or experience without detection what kind of experience it should be. And service design looks at process behind, aiming to highlight hidden needs. And if we run the service design stage, so we can come up with ideas what kind of solutions can be. For example, if you have inside that three flights landing at the same time, so we have to put more people on reception on busy time. And for example, second wave solution can be, let's digitalize the process. For example, if we have this issue with check-in, let's check in using the hotel app. And for example, from that nice and user-friendly website, you can download that app and also order the food and create requests, etc., etc. And in this case, this first customer-centered touch point is just a small piece of the puzzle. And so this story based on the real case which we had in the past. So what was the outcomes? Actually, it's 100% increase the customer satisfaction, 80% increased employee satisfaction, and 60% employees' time saved. Because we had a digital solution with a custom calendar, with digital app, with custom facility planning. And now it's time to proceed to Lean phase.
Okay, so why Lean, Agile, and Service Design after all? It's not about that me and Kate are working together, really. It's about two different approaches. So when we're speaking about service design, it's first of all about ideating. Yes, it's finding the right problem, finding the right solution for that, and also delivering some kind of prototype or concept for that. But when we're coming to Lean Agile phase, we are trying to deliver what have been achieved in service design. That when we have a service design phase, usually it ends up just with bright ideas that are thrown over the wall to some kind of executive or manager, and it's forgotten forever. When we go to Lean Agile, we make sure that these bright, nice ideas get into real life. Because Lean and Agile, it's about delivery, it's about implementation and improving this process. So again, our slide, we have finished service design phase, and we have some nice prototype after that, okay? When we go to Lean part, we see that we need to take this prototype and get it through the loop of learning, building, measuring, and then trying to improve it. So here is the main goal of Lean part. And as you know, one of the main concepts of Lean is to eliminate waste, right? So we need to decide what will be the right idea from service design that will be delivered further. There is also a concept of MVP, minimum viable product, or I would call it minimum lovable product. A product like in this bottom example that will be small enough, but already viable, already can be used and tested by our customers and our end users. We need to present something to the market, even though it will be very small, very funny, very embarrassing. It's no problem. We need to test it early than later. You know, many startups, many wonderful companies have started with quite crazy ideas, very lousy concepts, very lousy prototypes. But then in the end, after iteration 5, after release 10 or something, they came with something that now is known on the market and well respected and loved by the customers. Another concept of Lean phase is to kill your darlings. Again, you are cool businessman, you are a great service designer, and you have these wonderful ideas that will break and change the whole world and the whole humanity. But when you reveal it to your customers, it appears to be that this idea is not good for them. They do not can accept it, and you have to make this turn and decide, yeah, that idea probably was great for me, but it didn't work out well. So I maybe might improve it or just forget it, just kill it. You know also very well that only 20% of a feature or product is valuable for the customer, and the rest of 80% is just waste that can be eliminated. That's what we are trying to do in Lean phase, to see what is really efficient for us, what really will be used by our end users. And of course, we do, again, prioritization in this phase. So maybe you've heard such cases, or it's well-known example when a highest income person is deciding on priorities. Sometimes it's a committee, which is even worse, which takes time, which takes voting to decide which feature will go first in the production. And to fix that, Lean proposes prioritization driven by metrics, by real tests, maybe some kind of A/B testing or hidden testing with secret customers, or revealing it to some group of people first, not showing to the whole world, but we need to make it in order to come to our next part, to Agile. When we are ready with this prototype that are really feasible, really proved, we can go into implementation on full speed. And here comes the Agile. So Agile, I would show it as a circle, as a closed loop. And here I would propose a concept of product backlog. Why product backlog added to service design and Lean Agile? because you cannot eat a whale in one time. You cannot eat it in one seat, simply. So every great idea is like a whale. Here you can see on this picture, idea is our whale, is our business or our product or service that we're trying to sell. And of course, you cannot deliver it immediately. So Agile proposes to break it up in smaller pieces. First layer would be epics or features. Here, some small components, some small modules of the product, then can be showed and used, and they are already functional. But it's not enough. When we go into iteration or sprints in Agile phase, we need some pieces like user stories or tasks that can be digested in one sprint or one iteration within 1, 2, or up to 4 weeks. It's important to do this breaking up, and then it will be prepared for sprint execution and for delivery. With these small chunks, we go into one of the main principles of Agile, delivering value to customers often, and it already should be some valuable and viable increment. For me, Scrum looks like that. It's one of the frameworks of Agile together with Kanban, but I would say if you have some product, it's a good place to start your Agile journey and this Agile implementation with Scrum, because it's really clear, roles are clarified, very understandable meetings, artifacts, and it works in loops where you can go and learn after each sprint and improve your product. Even though your first sprint can be not successful, you make sure that in the next iteration, second, third, you improve and deliver something that will be valuable with your customers. Here also in Agile, we propose the concept of cross-functional feature teams. Why feature teams? It gives the opportunity to each team to deliver finished increment, finished value to the customer. So we come from the traditional silo approach where each department, like design department, development, testing department, are sitting and waiting for each other and not involved in the creation of the final product. No. We try to make this team really cross-functional and self-organized, independent, and all decisions and all development can happen inside these teams. Okay, and after all, when you have this in place, Agile practices and cross-functional teams, you can reach holy grail of Agile state business agility. What does it mean, business agility? It means that the whole company, the whole organization, not only your particular team or your particular project, all of you are working due to Agile principles and values. And this way, you will be able to move quicker, react faster to the changing requirements on the market, and also you will be able to respond to feedback of your customers quicker, not to wait until your company will go bankrupt. And in our Lean Agile phase, I would like to present one vivid example of successful implementation. It's Virtual Stock. It's our customer from the UK, which was assisted by Symphony Solutions in Agile transformation. So what we did actually, we assembled the cross-functional Agile teams for this customer. Started with 2 small teams and later grew to 4 teams of more than 30 engineers. Each team was able to deliver rapidly valuable increments in smaller iterations in 2 weeks. And it helped to produce new features and deliver them to market quicker and also to receive feedback. What else changed? We went further. We used scaled Agile framework for this project after the first successes and turned it into one big team that is working on the same product. And as a result, Virtual Stock could get the contract with the National Health Service in the UK and some also major retailers and big companies, due just to quickly respond to the change and to the demand of the market. So that's it. And you can ask, what can I do next? Okay, I like service design, I like Lean Agile. How can I implement it? Very simple. First of all, you need to start with a workshop, with a service design workshop. If you ask what's all about? Well, in an online mode, we advise to have it for a few hours, and on site, we usually spend 2 or 3 days with a cross-functional team from different departments, with different backgrounds, with possibility to brainstorm, ideate, and come up with final ideas to the management. And then after this workshop, you can state a problem, and after the workshop, you can receive some results, some new ideas that you can transfer into product backlog or even a roadmap for implementation. That's why we have Service Design and Lean Agile. So not only idea, but idea with a clear action plan. Someone says that a dream written down on a paper becomes a goal broken into the steps becomes a plan, and plan backed up by action becomes a reality. That's why we united these 3 approaches. And of course, which industries does it serve? It can serve any industry, iGaming, automotive, not only IT industries, any other department like recruitment, design, marketing, sales department. If you have a problem and you want to get a new insight on it, and you would like to have a new solutions you never thought of, just try the service design approach, and later you will get results that will impress you. Possible areas for improvements is engagement of new customers, retention of existing ones, new products, new services, any kind of campaigns and support. So guys, that's about it from ours, and you can contact any one of us on LinkedIn. You will receive this presentation after webinar, and you can get in touch with us. Eduardo, I pass the word to you.
Thanks very much for that. That was really, really interesting. We are opening up for some Q&A sessions now, so please don't be shy. If you have any questions, just drop them into the chat, or indeed you could turn on your video, unmute yourself, and just make your voices heard here. So go ahead. I'll open the floor to everyone here for a question. You can also use the raise your hand feature, I think, if you wish.
Eduardo, maybe you have some questions, and you can.
I do. Well, sure. I'm asked a couple of questions, I suppose, quite often. This is probably one for you, really. It's about prioritization. You mentioned that often you find the person with the loudest voice in the room kind of gets their way. What was the approach that you use to help avoid that and actually deliver the value that customers want?
A few approaches. 2 most useful I would recommend. It's first coming from Agile and Scale the Agile is the weighted shortest job first approach, which means when you have a choice, you always go for something that will bring you early wins that can be delivered with less effort, but bring the most value to the customers. This way you will be able to present something to the market, get the profit already, and just invest it in the future. Second approach is, as Katerina shared, this prioritization matrix. You can also divide your features into the most long-lasting ones and the shortest one, and the same for value-wise. So as much value it will bring, and then decide what you will go for. For some long projects with big outcomes, or you will go again for early quick wins with smaller investment and less risk.
Okay, we have.
That's great. Thank you.
Question in our chat.
Sure. Do you want to read that one out?
Loud so that everyone knows it.
I can read it out if you like, if Kurt perhaps is muted. So Kurt's asked, by focusing on small increments, don't you risk to introduce rework because there is or was no global total design? The first step may lead to code that is not usable for the complete picture.
So yes, I'm not sure that I understand correctly your question, but if to refer to this last part, that the first step may lead to code that is not usable for the complete picture. So as I told, that 1 hour invested into design saves 100 hours of development, because instead of coding something which is not tested, which is not let's say checked with the users or even with technical side, so it will require more investments, instead of if you will have some low fidelity or mid fidelity a prototype, or even it can be not only something clickable as we very often use in the UX UI process. It can be like prototype of the whole service. So how the products, processes, and people are connected. Is there some gaps? Because it might be that you have a perfect app, but it covers some very, very small part of the whole process. And for example, your cool modern app depends on the person who has to press some button somewhere in the server. So instead of coding something, try to just to understand how the service would work. And there are thousands of these tools, how to test your idea in a quick and cheap way. So if I understand, am I answered your questions in the right, on the right question, or I understood it?
Not completely. I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I agree with the prototype phase, but after the prototype phase, you start with the real development. So it's more a question for your colleague.
Okay.
And you do it in small increments. It's possible that your first increment, you write some code for it that you can deliver. That's very fine. But it's possible that towards the end of your code, that does not fit in that picture anymore, because you did not some global design to know which kind of structures, data storage, etc. you wanted to have and you need for the final solution.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Thank you, Kurt, for your question. Yeah, that's always a risk there. But we would say that instead of global design, we should come up with global vision or global idea first. And then when we start development, of course, it will be never clear path. It will be never clear plan for that. That's why we take Agile, because in modern world, it's very difficult to plan anything up front, and it's difficult to create, as you say, global total design, especially for complex products, for complicated scenarios. That's why we take Agile part to when we develop the first code. Yes, we discover something different, and then maybe in later stages it will require rework. That's also fine. But you don't know what you don't know, and I would also say that if the project is very simple, then of course we do not recommend Agile, and we do not say that Agile is a silver bullet and will solve your pains. No, you have to distinguish which projects you are using it for. But for complex projects with no definite and global design, you should start with Agile to discover the next steps. That's the approach.
Yeah, I can add a point. It's a very good question, Kurt, and it's something that has come up many times over the years. There are, I suppose, a few best practices that we tend to encourage. So if you're doing a really complex IT project with a number of different integrations, we tend to try to prove those integrations early on. So we may have a very loose construction from a UI point of view, but we would try to at least integrate as soon as possible, because as you know, I'm sure you're familiar that often those can cause a lot of headaches, and they can unearth things that we had not anticipated. Thank you. Any other questions from the floor? I see we've got about 5 or 6 minutes here. I've got another one actually that has been raised a few times to me. What's the difference between service design and CX?
Yes, very difficult question, because the difference is not visible from the first look. So I will explain it in a simple way. So I also would like to touch UX part in this question, because when we are talking about UX, user experience design or user interface design. It's more about interaction with some products, let's say phone or interface. So it's interaction with one touch point. When we are talking about customer experience, so it's more interaction with like its experience through different touch points and different channels. For example, iPhone, yes, so this is our object, iPhone. iPhone has banners, website, commercials, ads, etc., etc. And this is how we experience with the brand. And by customer experience design, so we design this experience through different touch points. And if we are talking about service design, it's more about system design, so which will include all kinds of touch points, all kinds of channels, and all kinds of interactions. So we design the whole picture, the whole ecosystem and small, let's call it micro world of the service. So the processes, the people, and the products. So we try to organize it and to orchestrate all this together.
Super, thank you. Any others? Don't be shy. We've got about 5 minutes. I'm sure someone wants to win this question. Oh, there's another one coming up here.
From the board. Okay, nice question. Yes, the painful one. So my suggestion is, as Andrew told, that it's really cool when you have a cross-functional team, when you work together. And we advise to have service design phase in cross-functional team as well, because you don't need only some creative people there or only designers. It's not right approach, because when you engage all stakeholders into the process from the very, very beginning, so they start from the very beginning to believe in this process. They feel themselves as a part of the process, and they sharing the findings of this process. In this case, they will, let's say, share the value of the service design, because it's like a common project, it's like a common achievement, it's a common finding, it is a common process. So in this case, most likely they will stay loyal to the findings, and they will believe that, yes, if our customers say that, and that, if we generated those insights from the customers, and then on the technical feasibility check, we discovered this, and this, so like everyone is on the one wave, on the one page. And in this case, you will have less obstacles to implement that project.
I would also add to this question from Ivana that when you're trying to sell a service design to your board, don't ask for big investment. Don't try to change the world or change the whole company immediately. You can ask for an experiment or like test run with a small problem, small particular case, and a small group of people. With such a low investment and low risk, I think any board member would give you a try. And you'd better provide some amazing results after the service design workshop and make them engaged. If it happens, it can spread to other teams, to other projects, other departments of the company. So always think globally, but act locally, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I see another interesting question from Kurt. Yeah. I think Kurt's after this prize. The question is, does it also work with an older application, brackets, legacy code, that is already in use by a lot of customers?
Perfect question. Yes, actually, service design is something independent from the initial technology. So you have to collect insights: what works right, what works bad, what can we improve, what is the hypothetical our next step, how can we grow our solution or service, how can we grow our business, and it's how we start. So we collect the feedbacks, we collect the vision, the market, competitors, all those things, and only after So when we have the solution, yes, even using old technology, we are still able to come up with solutions how to implement this like new opportunities for our product or service using that technology. So
And from Agile part, it also works quite well with legacy code. I've took part in Agile transformation of several such huge projects, and the benefit here is that old legacy projects already outdated, and nobody really knows and remembers how it works. Nobody knows how all components make up together and how they should function. That's the strongest side of the Scrum team would be to discover how it used to go, and when they're doing migration and so kind of improvement of the models of building something new, they try to adjust it, and in small iteration, they try, fail, try, success, and they build up a new product.
That's great. Hope that answers your question, Kurt. We're just about to close today. I'll give an opportunity for one last set of questions, and then perhaps we'll choose a winner for the best question so far. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to let our two speakers make the choice on that question.
Very difficult choice.
Yeah.
Let me think. Maybe this one. First to last one. I don't know. Between these two questions, I cannot decide.
This or this?
Or this, yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's one outer.
Exactly.
Well, look, we can have two winners, right?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I think
No
it's
problem.
great. Thank you so much. We will be in touch with both of you. Thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do have any other questions or would like to discuss a little bit more about service design and Lean and Agile and how that can bring benefits to your company, then just drop an email to us. I'd be happy to set up a call with you to discuss it further. So that's all from us. Thank you very much for joining today. There will be a recorded version of this webinar sent out. And so you're able to, of course, share that internally with yourselves. Yeah, have a lovely afternoon, and thank you for attending. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.